Hi, my name's Sheehan, and today I'd like to talk about Till Eulenspiegel by Richard Strauss, and I'd like to go through this famous work exploring how the music's put together. I do believe that having some understanding of structure in classical music can greatly aid appreciation and enjoyment of it. Now, Richard Strauss wrote this early on in his career. It's one of those pieces, those tone poems, which made his name as a young composer. And it's based on the folk stories about Till Eulenspiegel. He's this kind of prankster, trickster, that kind of thing. And although Strauss initially didn't give it a programme, a little while later he divulged what some of the episodes are about in this music. Now, he says in the score that it's in rondo form, but it's not really in rondo form at all. It's more of a through composed tone poem, rather episodic in structure, but with two prominent themes which keep coming back in various guises, in various forms throughout the work. The way these themes are changed throughout this tone poem is miraculous, and it really is marvellous the way these themes are combined and altered and varied depending on where we are in Till's adventures. The work begins with a very short introduction, which we hear at the end in the Coda as well. We have this idea which is it's said to be once upon a time, that kind of beginning to a story. Actually based on one of the Till Eulenspiegel melodies we hear just a little bit later. It goes like this. And then we have the first section of the piece, which I call A. And by the way, the description with the bar numbers is down below, just in the description of the video. So we have this famous theme which represents Till, perhaps the adventurer, and we hear it on this terrifically difficult horn solo. So we hear that in this opening section a few times, the horn again, the oboe, and eventually we come to this pause, this rather abrupt, imperfect cadence, and then we hear the second Till theme on the D clarinet. And this is perhaps more of the cheeky, mischievous side of Till. We then hear this kind of dotted rhythm, perhaps suggests that Till has got on his horse. Note that little turn idea at the end, which is already that second Till motif is already being developed by Strauss. This builds up a head of steam. We hear this grand fortissimo tutti on the on that second Till idea. We're reminded of the from the first Till theme, and that brings this rousing initial section to the piece to a close. We then start quietly in the marketplace. Initially we hear this idea, which of course is the second Till theme. And then eventually all hell breaks loose. We hear this kind of rather sneezing idea, based on that the second Till motif. Becomes this crashing climax where all hell breaks loose. We hear the ratchet, that kind of twisty thing in the percussion section, which is a bit like something you used to have in football matches in the UK in the 70s, kind of swinging around. We hear that mocking till theme all over the place here, just confusion everywhere. Then there's a bar, just a bar of silence, and we hear these upward scales in the woodwind. It's like Till is perhaps hiding behind a barrel somewhere. And then we come to the next adventure, the next episode, which I call C. This is where Till impersonates a priest, and he has this rather kindly melody. Now we hear this tune right at the end of the tone poem as well, so remember that tune. Underneath that we hear a kind of stretched out version of the second Till theme as well in the basses. So that's again Strauss developing those motifs right from the opening of the piece. Eventually Till is rumbled, and this motif turns up. Ominous sounding motif, again which we hear at the end of the tone poem. We hear it in the brass like this. And in the meantime, Till is trying to wheedle his way out with this rather charming violin solo. Till is rumbled. At the end of that violin solo, this kind of crazy glissando down. Something like that anyway. And then we go to the next adventure. This time Till tries to be a ladies' man, and he's found a young lady who catches his eye, and he attempts to woo her. And again we're hearing snatches of these Till melodies which we've grown accustomed to, but this time in a rather more romantic guise, and eventually these coalesce into this rather ardent melody. And so on. A lovely moment actually in this music. But then he's rejected by this young lady, and Till kind of goes into a rage. We hear that slowed down version of his that mockery theme again. Note how similar that is to the very opening bars. Yes, Strauss is so clever that the very opening Once Upon a Time intro etc. Is actually based on that second Till theme. Eventually Till gives up with this lady, and he decides to poke fun at the learned men of the town, the philosophers, the academics, etc. He portrays them as rather pedantic, pretentious people. Perhaps Strauss is having a dig at the esteemed musical figures of his day here. We have this dotted rhythm, and we have this melody. We have this additional idea, again based on da 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 da. So the first Till theme is being varied here, and this has got this rather dry, scholarly feel to it, much of the music. And Till goes off, just leaves them with this new Then this music kind of peters out, and we have a return. We hear the swelling in the orchestral texture, and we're into the next section, which I call F, which, like A, the beginning, doesn't necessarily tell a story, but it has something of Till's cockiness and swagger, sheer kind of arrogance, I guess, in a way, that he would never be caught. So it's almost like it begins like a recapitulation. We go back to that horn melody again, etc. Back in F major, the music gets brasher and more vibrant and more extravagant. There's such a kind of swagger about this music. We come back to this again, back to the second Till theme. Something like that. And then we get to this new melody, which I love. This really does epitomise Till's confidence. And underneath we've got that kind of, and you know, it's got that kind of sneezing effect, particularly when it's heard on the horns. It sounds like these sneezes. Very kind of humorous, I guess, and comic. There's definitely the touch of the Looney Tunes cartoons in this music, or rather much of Richard Strauss tone poetry, let's say, in those cartoons. And then what's terrific about this section is at the end, in this almost monophonic texture, the whole orchestra plays the same thing. If you look at it on the score, it kind of brings it home, you know, everyone's just kind of playing the same rhythm. And it's thrilling, it's just such a thrilling climax. And then out of this, this wonderful moment, we suddenly hear the tune again we heard when Till was impersonating a priest. I guess preaching a sermon. Perhaps Till is trying to do the same thing again, but this time it's like, instead of sounding rather kindly and nice, it's like the height of arrogance. And the whole orchestra just stops on this this chord, and we're into the final section of Till Eulenspiegel. Till has been caught, and he's hauled before the town magistrate, and we hear this rather serious, or rather mock serious music. And then in between those chords, which suggest that Till is being questioned to answer for his crimes, we hear Till on the comically on the D clarinet respond to these charges. First of all, kind of rather cockily, but then he gets more and more worried and kind of whimpers by the end of it. Back to again the episode where he impersonates the priest. We hear this theme. And with that motif of Till finally has nowhere to go, the death sentence is passed. And then Till is strung up on the gallows. That clarinet going right up as if it was being stretched on an elastic band. Brilliant piece of orchestration. And then we hear they kind of hear his body kind of come down, and finally with a thud, Till is dead. And that's extended this time in the coda till we get to this heavenly chord, and then we're into this terrifically exciting final blaze of Till's glory, ending on a triple F chord. Bum! It seems that Till is very much enjoying himself up in heaven. So that's Till Eulenspiegel. I hope this breakdown of this piece helps. I don't think there's much out there which really does explain how the music and the programme relate in this piece. And please click like and subscribe. Thank you to Ian Velsman, hopefully I pronounced that correctly, for suggesting that I look at this piece. If anyone has any further suggestions, please put them in the comments below. Thank you, bye.